Welcome back to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. If you're just tuning in, you're going to want to go to nowmedia.tv, click on shows, and catch the first half of today's episode. It has been epic. We are talking about real and relevant, human relationships in the first part of today. And we're going to shift gears just slightly because I have our next amazing guest here. She is CEO and founder of NGNG Enterprises, a book and business strategist, multi-bestseller selling author, speaker, all the things. But the most important thing for you to know is Amber is a master of branding, digital strategy, and personal alignment, especially in chaotic times. So today we're going to dive into what true alignment looks like in today's high pressure AI influenced business world. Welcome to the show, Amber.
Thanks, Jen. I just really admire what you're doing with the show and the way that you lead. And so I think this is going to be an incredible conversation for everyone. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited because, building a business that not only scales, but also feels authentic, especially in an age of constant disruption, is so incredibly important. So I'm going to ask you just to kind of open us up. How do we build a business that reflects our values? How do you define alignment when it comes to business? Is it about strategy or something a little bit deeper?
So I'm actually going to take you back to about 5 years ago. And as I was approaching 40, I noticed that I didn't have the same energy levels that I used to have when I was a 20-year-old punk in digital marketing, book publishing. And I was starting to do the math, Jen, and I was thinking, this isn't sustainable. I can't wake up every day pushing the boulder up the hill to force my success to happen. There has to be a more natural way. So I started looking back on the work that I was really doing with my clients over the years as I was launching their books and their brands. And I came up with a foundational four framework that helps entrepreneurs get into alignment. Now, what that means is living in line with your deepest beliefs, needs, and values. And what I find is that most entrepreneurs are out of alignment and they don't even know it. If you sense that you have blind spots, you're missing something, something feels off, I don't have clarity, this feels harder than I think it should be, these are all signals that you're out of alignment. And by shifting into alignment, you are operating in a much more natural state that naturally attracts like minded, qualified customers to you, where you have an easier time connecting with them, activating them, and converting them. And at that point, you just have to follow through on what you say you're going to do and offer a quality service in order to retain and scale. So alignment is more important now than ever before.
And I couldn't agree more. And especially in today's digital age, like authenticity and alignment they seem like they're buzzwords, but it's so much more than a buzzword on social. But let's kind of dig a little deeper into this because you work with so many founders. What are the most common misalignments that you see in business models? Because sometimes we're not really in tune until it's like a big deal. So, what are some of the most common misalignments, and what are kind of the red flags before we notice that we feel something's off?
It always is most common in marketing because most business owners say, I hate marketing. I don't like social media. I don't want to be an influencer. Can somebody else just do it for me? And the answer is no, not if you are more of a thought leader, an influencer, an author, speaker, somebody who has direct influence on educating and leading their own community. You have to be visible in order for people to connect with you and convert in that way. And I'm not saying that you have to be all things in every aspect of your company, but especially in marketing, it comes from you and within your vision, your deepest why, not because you want to help people, but because there's some unmet need in you around freedom or empowerment or joy, something that you are personally driven toward. And if you can give that away and cultivate that through your marketing, it will naturally activate other people who want to feel a lot of those same things. Traditional marketing, Jen, I mean, we could just hammer people with content and it would work. But ever since COVID and the rise of mistrust and misinformation and disillusionment, we are relying more on our feelings to make more decisions, which is a really interesting and massive shift in marketing. So by getting into alignment, you're tapping into those deeper feelings and needs. And when you are conveying them through your marketing, people naturally start to convert. So if your marketing isn't effective, if your sales are diminishing, if you are feeling overwhelmed and uncertain what to do, I'm going to suggest you start with marketing. Start by expressing your deepest beliefs, what you really want to say to your audience base. And if you just focus on that, watch how the tables start turning and more people will feel safer with you, and they're going to move forward with you even if they don't totally understand what it is exactly that you do, because they don't really feel safe anywhere else.
Okay, and so I know immediately the next question, because I can hear the questions that are going to come through my email and LinkedIn based off of this. But wait, what if my deepest beliefs are in religious or political or some other fashion? That's a big no-no to put out into the world, because I don't want to put off certain people or alienate clientele. What then? Like, what's your advice to those entrepreneurs who went, wait a minute, this is a little bit more sharing than what I'm accustomed to?
Thank you, because I am certainly not advocating for that. I do not share politics or religion inside of my platform. But for me, Jen, it really comes from, and this is me personally, my story comes from a place of feeling like it was safer to be invisible in the world. And so a lot of my root core beliefs are around not using my voice because I didn't want something bad to happen. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are driving toward something that they didn't have previously. So visibility can be really challenging for entrepreneurs. I'm more saying that you can promote things like kindness or accountability to your audience and educating them, but not hiding, saying it how you really want to say it, and really connecting with your audience, not sharing things that are going to stir the pot. I don't know that that's the right move for your business in today's political environment, unless that's like part of your brand message. But I'm more saying, stop hiding. Stop
Mm.
hiding. Say what you really want to say. Talk to one person, make it specific, make it count, make it matter. Don't just spew generic random content out there hoping that it's going to work, because it simply won't in this environment anymore.
You know, I'm immediately drawn to. I literally did a topical presentation in the AI space yesterday, and I generally keep it a little moderated. And I'm a no BS, straight direct to the point kind of
Yeah,
girl. And I'm a
love
little snarky,
it.
and so I tried this on for size, knowing that I was going to be speaking with you today, and so I was a little snarky. And I like put it right out there. And I was very direct and bold with some of the assertions that I made. And you know what? It literally worked. I had 10 people in my inbox before I finished asking for a consultation. So I tried this on for size, folks. And I'm just saying this truly works. And I was really hesitant because in the AI space, there's not a whole lot of women. There's not a lot of women. And so you tend to want to fit in with the imagery and with everybody else. But the
Exactly.
reality is I'm a woman. I'm not a man in tech.
And what businesses need now more than ever before is differentiation.
Yes.
If you are like everybody else, you're not going to stand out, and people will not trust you because they will intuitively sense that something is off. So only when you can just be your true natural self in all of your forms, right? And just put it out there, you'll see that your people who match that frequency or match more of your personality. Like if I tried to be snarky, it would not work for me, but it works awesome for Jen. And I celebrate who Jen is, and that's her differentiation. So the more she leans into that, now your core values will be your guardrails. Am I overdoing it? Am I overcompensating? Am I hiding? You know, you want to try to practice this just as if you would be practicing movement in a gym. You want to practice it to know where your natural baseline is, and not try to go over or under. You know, don't be so extreme.
Well, it's really easy when you're just being yourself and you don't like, I don't hold punches. And anybody who's ever coached or consulted with me knows I don't hold punches. Anybody who watches this show knows if somebody says something I don't agree with, I'm like, wait, hold on, what about this? So
Good.
it made perfect sense. And so I love that. Use your core values as guardrails. If you're watching, if you're listening, make sure you're taking notes. And so I'm going to ask you, because everything I do here is I want something practical. What can people do if they're like, okay, well, I don't know what this looks like for me because I've operated in this box for 30 years, 20 years, 10 years. Like, what's the first step that they can do? Maybe an alignment audit, something that they can do to detect if they're not exactly aligned in their messaging.
Yeah. Well, I do have a congruence assessment actually, and it's listed inside of this book, Infinite Impact, that published last year. And it's a simple 20 questions. And you just go through and, it's a ranking system, and you can very quickly see by the end of these 20 questions how much in alignment or out of alignment you really are in all areas of your business. So it tackles anything from team to marketing to sales to branding and everything. So that would be the first thing. But the second thing, again, even without getting a book and going through the assessment, if you feel like you have a blind spot, you're already out of alignment and there's something calling you, there's something trying to emerge. And especially in an age of disruption, that's when that inner voice starts to get louder and louder and louder. And the reality is if you are out of alignment, headed into this much accelerated chaos, I would just be concerned for you. So this isn't a nice to have. This is something that I would tackle immediately, if not sooner.
So just to wrap up, because we do have to break for commercial, if you are feeling anything isn't quite right, if that inner voice is going, wait a minute, something's not right, pause, stop, do not press go, assess what's not right, what's missing. Pick up Amber's book. We'll have more on that after the break so that you can know how to find that. But today's the day that you press pause before you keep going, because if we're about to accelerate and we're going to automate and do other things, we need to make sure that we are amplifying that authenticity and that alignment. We'll be right back after these messages.